Dun 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 dun. Welcome everyone back to Katawa Shoujo with what I believe is the finale. It's been a long time. Oh yes, alright. I'm just making sure that I'm in the right place. It's been a long time. A quick peek out at the door assures nobody's looking directly at the entrance for the boys' dormitory, so we walk out with the path clear. Aha, the weather's good today. As Stretch as Lily and I make our way outside, the bright morning sun beaming down on us. By now, a few students can be seen doing the same, making their way to this school building. Oh, that's a terrible noise. That's okay though. By now, a few students can be seen doing the same, making their way to the main school building, either from the dorms or through the main gate. It does feel nice and warm. Our hands linked and her cane tapping the ground, we begin in earnest our trip to the school building and join the chatting throngs of school students. God, it's really coming at me. Calm down. This music's all over the place with how loud it is. It doesn't help that my headphones sound kind of bad right now. Our hands linked and her cane tapping the ground, we begin in earnest our trip to the school building and join the chatting throngs of students around us. This would be the last day of exams now. Yeah, how are you going in them? That's weird wording. Fairly well. All things considered, you seem a bit stressed about them, though. It's that obvious, huh? I don't think it's just the exams, though. A lot of stuff's been happening in such a short amount of time. I'm not doing that well on the humanities subjects. You're doing well in science, though, aren't you? Well, it would be hard not to do well in science for me. Come to think of it, didn't you say that you weren't very good at science and the maths? Just like a girl not to do well in STEM. I'm kidding. She suddenly looks very sheepish for my remark, no doubt hitting home. Lily's sense of pride can really be a double-edged sword. Well, aside from that, have you ever given any thought to what you might do with that ability? It seems a pity to waste it. A bit, mostly at Muto's prompting. In any case, I'll probably end up doing science as a career in some form. That's good to hear, Hisao. As we enter the gardens, I suddenly receive an unsolicited pat on the back. The green-dressed culprit dances around me, evidently not paying my heed to Lily at my side. Hey man, what's up? Haven't seen you in a while. Hey, just been busy lately with the exams and stuff. Exams ex shams. A true Renaissance man needs no study to excel in such things. Kenji does not strike me as the kind of person who does well in school, even if he has horrid attendance, or as the kind of person that does well in school, even if he has a horrid attendance record and poor work ethic. So I have little reason to doubt his ability. To be honest, I'm a little envious of him. Between studying for exams and my time with Lily, I've practically had no time to myself. This is what they don't tell you about relationships. Maybe this is a bit like how Yuko feels. Good morning, Satao. It's good to hear you're doing well. It feels slightly odd to see Lily speaking so formally. She's come to address me more casually over the months, though I have seen her speak more formally to classmates from time to time as well. Some people never change, I guess. Not that I'd say her calm and polite manner is a bad thing. It was one of the things I liked being around her to begin with, after all. Kenji seems to take a moment to work out who it is beside me and probably hasn't noticed us holding hands either. I wonder if those glasses of his actually do anything. Oh, hey Lily. Good luck on your exams, too. I'll see you after school then, man. The slight edge to his voice makes me think those words are meant to be an imperative rather than a casual farewell. I guess I'll have to smooth things over later. Sure, see ya. Kenji nods curtly. He moves to pass by us, but he's too busy glaring in Lily's general direction to take notice of her cane. Before I can react to save the situation, Kenji trips and it reflexively reaches out for a handhold. Unfortunately, said handhold is only her arm. This isn't Whoa! Ah! Oh, I think I messed that up. Both fall to the ground in a sprawling heap, with me feeling rather helpless. Damn. Are you two okay? Kenji quickly rises back up, seemingly unfazed by the accident. No problem, man. No problem. This is nothing. My body can take much worse abuse. Lily lies face down in the grass. She doesn't look hurt by the incident, more startled than anything. I move closer to offer her help. Are you alright, Lily? Hey, Sato. Kenji offers her a hand, tentatively touching hers to let her know what he's doing. He says some odious things, but I do think he's a genuinely good person at heart. I imagine he feels pretty bad about this. To his surprise and mine, though, Lily pounds on the ground with her fist without warning. Damn it! Kenji freezes, entirely caught by surprise at her outburst. I'm just as shocked. She has never acted like this before, not even around Shizune. Seemingly only now, remembering that there are people around her, Lily slowly climbs up to her feet. Her face, as she does so, makes me retreat a little. Ooh, angry Lily. I only catch a glimpse of her expression before she turns away, but it's not something I'll forget soon. She showed plenty of annoyance during her clashes with Shizune, but this flash of anger was something else. There's no way that this is just about the petty incident. She pauses for a moment, sighing and walking on ahead. I really don't know what to make of this. I'll talk to you later, dude. See you. Yeah, see ya. Kenji scratches the back of his head, trying to find something to say, then shrugs and walks away, giving us wide berth. I quickly catch up to Lily. She turns her head a little to acknowledge my presence, but nothing else. I should probably scold her for lashing out like that, but I also don't want to get into a shouting match with her. She's obviously very annoyed. In the end, I keep my mouth shut and wait for her to cool off. After a quiet walk in, we eventually reach the top of the third floor stairs in the junction where we part every day. I turn to Lily before she leaves. While I do like the comfortable and warm silences we usually share, this was anything but. I don't want to leave things like this. You seem quieter than usual recently. Is anything wrong? She shakes her head almost automatically, as if to dispel any notion that I need to worry about her. It's just the exams taking their toll. I'll be fine. I don't think that's the reason. I very nearly say so, but decide against it. There's no point in trying to draw it out of her if she doesn't want to tell me, especially when she's in a foul mood like this. If you're sure, I'll see you later then. As I turn down the hall, go to my classroom, Lily's soft voice rings out from behind me. Hisao? Yeah? I'm sorry. Lily makes off down the hallway to her own classroom, her hands skating along the metal railing. I stand still and watch her until she turns into her classroom and out of sight, before going to my own classroom with a fair measure of reluctance. As usual, I'm early. Muto is fiddling with folders and papers on his desk as he prepares for the day, while a handful of students mill about, chatting away. While my feelings about Lily haven't dissipated, far from it, her mention of my exam performance did remind me I have my own life's journey to attend to. After thinking about it, I realized I do genuinely want to pursue science in some form of career, rather than it simply being a path of least resistance. What are you? Electricity? Until now, I didn't have much of an idea of where in the field I wanted to go. Just science is a pretty broad category of jobs. Something Lily mentioned earlier focused my thoughts. Something I'd only idly pondered before. I'd not seriously considered following this specific path. I walk up to Muto's desk. His attention too focused on preparing for the day's lessons to notice my approach. It's the same every day. Good morning. He looks up with an expression of mild surprise that quickly replaced by his typical awkward smile. Good morning, Nakai. Can I help you? Do you mind if I ask you something? He looks down at his messy pile of books on the desk before putting down the papers in his hand and standing up with some difficulty to properly address me. That's what I'm here for. After all, ask away. I was just wondering, what would you say is the motivation behind teaching? He thinks on this question for a few moments before responding, evidently far from having prepared an answer. If you talk to 10 different teachers, I think you'll get 10 different answers to that question. While I can only speak for myself, I'd say that I teach because, He sinks into a thought, carefully assessing the way in which he wishes to present the idea. Think of it this way. When you were a child, you probably played with sticks and pebbles and moving water, such as the gutter or puddles, right? Yeah, I think a lot of people did that when they were young. Well, it's not just when they're young for some, though it does take on another form. My point is, though, that when one is doing that, they're curious about how the water will flow or be changed. Everyone, even at a young age, possesses an intense wonderment about how the world works around them works, even its smallest forms. I still feel that sense of wonderment about the universe, even just reading about new discoveries or classic experiments gives me a renewed sense of awe at how marvelous everything is, from the farthest stars to the smallest puddle. I just hope that I can give others a small piece of that wonderment I feel. If I can do that, even if it's just for one person, I can think I can be happy as a teacher. He scratches his head as he mentally reviews what he just said. I feel like I understand him better now. Even if he's awkward around others, he does have a genuine want to be around them and offer them a piece of his self that he values. What Lily told me yesterday rings in my ears. I think you get on well with others, huh? She always did say I was unusually curious. Sorry if that was a little meandering. Does it answer your question? It does, thank you. I also had another question, actually. Oh, what might that be? Do you have any college brochures or guides? It's about time I start getting some applications in. He nods and bends down to look inside his desk. As he does, I notice that he is wearing a remarkably genuine smile. I don't think I've ever seen him act this natural around others before. Perhaps this isn't Muto, the teacher, but rather Muto, the person. Here. If you need any more, feel free to ask. He hands me about half a dozen brochures and booklets of various colors and sizes, which I take eagerly. Yes, it will be this information which I'll use to forge my own future. I think now, after all this time and all these trials, I can finally start to see the big picture of my life ahead of me. My body may be like this, but my mind is very much able. Thank you. I think we have 1 or 2 big scenes left. This is strange. That single thought has graced my mind a countless number of times since my life here began. It feels like an easy way to discard a troubling question, as if simply labeling something with those 3 words will make it go away, or at least not worth thinking about any further. My life before my heart attack feels more blurry every time I try to remember it, and my mind struggles to keep up with all the events suddenly happening around me since. I heard somewhere that this is what it feels like to be left stranded in a country with only the most basic understanding of the local language. Indeed, when I think about it, that seems a marvelously apt analogy for what's happened to me. But such situations are also supposedly to make you very capable in that language very fast, just as you're forced to learn it in order to survive. Put another way, the situation becomes sink or swim. I wonder if I've really managed to swim after all this time. The exams are stressing me out a lot, even though they're finally coming to an end, but I have remained in Muto's favor and I have some sort of direction in my future now. But I keep using that stupid meaningless phrase. This is strange. It really is amazing how fast one comes to accept being surrounded by people with sometimes incredibly jarring disabilities and conditions. So much so that I really wonder why I feel so much like a foreigner. It certainly isn't for lack of socialization or friends. I've come around to know most of my classmates on first-name terms, and know a few others around the school. Whether they're missing an arm or a leg, the students here are just like anyone else of their age. I can navigate the halls that I once lost myself in with an ease I'd not expected to ever have. Thanks to the school's logical layout, and can engage my teachers in comfortable discussion. I swirl around gently, the tea in my cup reflected, the image of my face becoming distorted by the moving liquid. This is strange. I used to hate drinking tea. Maybe I'm thinking too much. The sound of china rattling from a teacup touching an unaccompanying saucer rings out. Is something the matter? Don't worry about it, it's nothing. I take a long sip of the tea in front of me as the girls do. Just whiling away the time in Lily's room, sipping tea with her and Hanako, it feels familiar, almost nostalgic. So how's your work in the newspaper club going, Hanako? I want to know too. It sounds like it would be quite interesting. I splashed myself with water right in the eye hole. It's okay. Hanako's face turns down at the attention placed upon her, though her smile belies the fact that she genuinely likes being the center of interest for the two of us. It's good. I think I'm getting better at it. Naomi and a couple of her friends, most of the jobs getting stories and stuff. I just do the computer things like putting the stories together and getting it printed. It's nice, since I can sit and concentrate. I see Lily's low-tech nature isn't shared by Hanako while sitting in a room now compiling other people's newspaper articles into documents that don't strike me as overly outgoing. It's heartening to see her widening her circle of friends. Baby steps, I guess. It's probably a bit much to be expecting her to become a socialite like Lily. How are you finding Naomi? I've heard she can be quite troublesome at times. And Lily's going into her mothering mode over Hanako. Letting go of her is something she's had to learn. Hanako scratches her cheek, thinking of an answer. Naomi's nice. She's a bit loud sometimes, and a bit tiring, but she's really helpful. Her friends are nice too. That's wonderful to hear, Hanako. I'm glad you found this a source of such enjoyment. Aw, everyone's happy. Lily's smile is warm and genuine, but I can sense a touch of wistfulness to it as well. Hanako seems to miss that entirely, but I don't think for a second that I'm imagining it. I suppose it's because I've slowly come to pay more and more attention to everything going on around me. With things seemingly happening faster and faster, it feels like I'll miss something if I'm not as observant as possible. With the exams, my newfound love life, trying to fit in some studying regarding my options for college and university, and my heart condition applying the brakes on everything at irritatingly random times, my brain's been in overdrive recently. It makes me appreciate the rare quiet times such as these. I guess this is why Lily came to appreciate her weekly walks to the convenience store and her tea parties with Hanako, despite her like of being surrounded by others. They gave her a moment of peace in a chaotic and busy life. Thank God the exams are over, eh? The comment draws an earnest chuckle from both the girls. It seems like everybody's a lot happier since the exams ended last week. So, what are you doing for the summer holidays, Hanako? I quickly count the days in my head. Today's Monday, and school finishes on Saturday. 5 days to go after all. I was thinking of traveling. Just around a bit. There's a lot of places I want to see, and I think I have enough money to pay for the bus and train rides. Naomi and one of the other girls in the newspaper said they might come along too. Her look indicates she's given quite a lot of this matter. Yeah, she's given the matter quite a lot of thought. I'm kind of surprised that she's contemplating something like this. It seems like she's become really intent on striking out on her own. Is there anywhere in particular you're thinking of going? I was thinking that Kyoto sounds nice. I think I'll try to go a few places though. Lily nods in approval, happy with Hanako's plans. While I cast my eyes to Lily, I refrain from asking her the same question. She's been evasive with her plans for the future for a long time now, but I never seem to get a good time to broach the subject alone with her. Every time it comes up in conversation, it feels like she's either unsure of herself or simply dodging the question. It's troubling. Be sure to call sometime while you're out and about. I gave you my number before, right? Hanako gives a quick nod, a happy smile on her face. It's strange to see how happy people seem to become when they have a goal to work towards. Yuko seems to brighten whenever her university aspirations are brought up, and now Hanako is just the same. So why do I still feel this uncertainty, and why Lily too? Relationships can be irritatingly troublesome at times. Oh, what time is it? It takes me a second to remember. Lily's clock doesn't have any visual feedback. I really should know that, given how many times I've been in her room. Excuse me, Hisao, what are you doing, buddy? Nevertheless, I take my watch from my bag and quickly check at the reason for her asking becoming clear. It's about 20 past 10, near the curfew. Hanako rises to her feet, dusting herself off, neatening her gown, doing so. Oh, I think this is the first time we got to see her hand so clearly. Also burnt. I'd better be going then. Good night, Lily, Hisao. Sleep well, Hanako. Sleep tight, little Hanako. See you tomorrow. With that, she walks to the door and quietly makes her exit. Silence. It seems to be happening more and more between Lily and I. Recently, after a few seconds, I finally found something to talk about. The thing is, sometimes... Oh, also take a shot for them saying silence. Silence in a relationship can be a good thing. It means that you're comfortable enough to just be around each other without having to fill the void. But, you know, sometimes it's people not wanting to talk about the elephant in the room. Oh yeah, I talked to Muto on Friday and finally checked out some guides on college and how to apply for it. That's good news. If you're going to be applying for colleges, I assume you have some idea in mind of what you might do in the future? I think I've settled on becoming a science teacher. It's going to take a little bit to get through university and everything to be qualified. I think it'll be worth it though. Lily's face brightens considerably at the news. I suppose with her wish to become a teacher, she's delighted that I'm taking the same kind of path. So you've decided a career on teaching. I think that path suits you most excellently, Hisao. I smile and nod this time, even if I know she can't see me doing so. I know she feels it. I imagine Muto would have taken to the news well. That's one word for it. Hey, Lily? Yes? I know you want to be a teacher, but for a second I wonder if I should really ask her the question on my mind, but that's quickly brushed aside by the fact that this is rather late to have a second thoughts. Surely you don't still think I'd be offended by something regarding my blindness. Her accusing tone is betrayed by her grinning face. Amused at my awkwardness in raising the topic, some things never change. Good point, I guess. I was just thinking about whether or not being blind would be a hindrance, what with your ambitions to become a teacher and all. She looks mildly surprised, giving the question some thought. I refuse to think she's never actually pondered the issue before. I wonder, Hisao, could you close your eyes for a moment? Okay. Raising an eyebrow, I do as she requests. I have no idea what she has in mind. My questions only increase as I peek out from one eye. Taking the black ribbon she usually wears in her head from the cabinet beside her bed, she advances toward me while running it through her fingers to remove any stray hairs remaining in the piece of cloth. Oh, I guess I'm going to be blind whether or not I close my eyes. I suddenly click on to her intentions as I feel the black strip make contact with my face, wrapping around my head and over my eyes. What exactly is this for? It's a little test, Hisao. Since you seem to be wondering, I'll let you see things as I do for a time. Huh, so that's what this is about. To be honest, this actually sounds kind of fun. Likes being blindfolded, eh? Please go on, Hisao. Childish and rather silly to anyone who would be watching, but a bit of silly fun never hurt anyone. Yeah, just tell me about that after you've played a little bit of Russian roulette. I stand up with a heave, my hands quickly moving out in front of me to warn me of any obstacles. Okay, now what? Now touch me. Ooh, if you say so, now then. I slowly make my way forwards towards the sound of Lily's voice. My walking speed could barely be called a shuffle, the entire experience feeling alien enough that I don't want to inadvertently tripping over anything such as her table or her haphazard piles of books. Something soft yet solid brushes against my left leg. Further inspection reveals it to be Lily's bed. I move on forwards, finding myself thankful that Lily's room is so neat and tidy. Even the piles of books she has are generally kept close to the wall, well out of harm's way. The hard wall pressing against my outstretched hands makes me furrow my brow in, what is it? Frustration. Hey, Lily, where are you? What are you doing over there? I'm over here. Lily's voice comes from the other side of the room, far from where it was before. Even in my untrained ears, if she's going to out of her way to avoid me reaching her, then is this just a game for her? Of course it is. Compared to a life, even the concept of sight is an abstract one. A few minutes in a blindfold or nothing. Yes, she's made her point. She's more than capable of navigating a room And further, I've seen how independent she is when compared to many of the others in Yamaku. Well, even if this is just a game, I may as well play it wholeheartedly. Ooh, please try to run and catch your blind girlfriend. I move towards the source of her voice, deftly sidestepping the table in the center of her room, thanks to remembering its position. I've got you now. She gives an impish giggle, one just long enough to work out she's passing just beside me. I quickly turn to face the new direction. The table wasn't there before. Ow, ow, ow. I slowly sit up next to the table, raising my blindfold as I rub my aching head. Give an irritated kick to the table that's sitting in front of where I fell. Utterly pointless, but the thing deserved it. Hisao? Lily's still standing to my side, obviously unsure of what's befallen me. Sorry, I kind of fell over. Are you hurt? My head hurts, but I think I'm okay. I think the table moved in order to trip me over. She giggles as she walks over and takes a seat beside me, her hand resting on my own. I suppose that's the end of that then. I think so. But I also get the point, though I do wish it hadn't involved such a headache. Lily suddenly looks blank. Point? And I return an extraordinarily flat look. That was just for fun? I thought it might ease you up a little about the subject. You always seem to tiptoe around it after all. In regard to teaching, sight isn't that important. There are plenty of classes taught by entirely blind teachers and more than enough resources for me to learn the subject. It's as simple as that, really. I wonder how that would work as an English teacher, because, you know, a lot of this stuff is, like, written on pencil and paper. Wouldn't you have to, like, have someone transcribe it to you? Or, like, you know, something. I slump my shoulders and give a snort of amusement. Yeah, I understand. I guess we'll both have to just work hard to reach our goals then. What is it? With a little hesitation, Lily pushes forward her chin and closes her eyes in an unmistakable gesture. Ooh. I accept gladly. Our lips are touching as they do. I suddenly feel her hand snaking up against my chest from underneath my shirt. The feeling of her hand against my bare skin is enough to make my heart suddenly accelerate. So she's in that kind of mood again. Well, I am hardly one to complain. She does genuinely like this. Even with all my medications, my libido is thankfully still intact. I lean into the kiss further, holding her hand as I feel it tracing the contours of my chest. Eventually we break off from one another. The room's silent but for our breathing. Hey, Hisao? Yeah? I don't suppose you could, wear the blindfold again? Her tentative suggestion takes me by surprise. I suppose she wants to introduce me to sex through her eyes as well. Or just wants to find out what I'll be like during the act while hampered by the blindfold. With a measure of unease tempered by curiosity, I do as she says and lower the blindfold over my eyes. The world becomes dark again. I reflexively tense as I feel Lily's hand gently brush the side of my face, entirely unable to anticipate her touch. I really need to get more used to contact like this, even after the weeks we've been going out. It isn't as natural for me as it is for her. Silence? Hey, Lily? Shh. I obediently follow her instructions and quietly listen, trying to make out anything that's happening around me. Compared to before, when I was chasing Lily, the need to carefully navigate the room's obstacles is now gone. I can take my time and concentrate much harder on listening. It takes a while, but I can eventually ping out the soft sound of her breathing in the otherwise dead silent room. In, out, in, out, measuring it against my own breathing. I realize it's definitely deeper than normal, especially for her. Another sound makes its way to my ears, one that I can't identify immediately. I don't think I've ever heard it before, but my heart skips a beat as I realize its source, my hand reflexively reaching out towards it. Her face feels softer than usual under my cheek, her head just barely turning in acknowledgement towards the fingers on her cheek. Hisao. I gulp and I take a moment to try to calm down. I need all the concentration I can muster while I'm like this to fully take in my surroundings. After a few deep breaths, I think I've managed to collect myself with a touch so light it wouldn't disturb a feather. I start to move my hand down her body, and I feel myself losing focus again, thanks to those silken pajamas of her resting so perfectly over the curves of her body. If she's like this, then that means she has to be sitting against her bed facing me. Now, to continue. Alright, this must be her hip. If I move slowly downwards. Ooh, the cuttlefish are getting cuddly. More. I want more. Uh-oh. I can feel my chest tightening as I rock back and forth frantically, both of us entirely taken with ourselves. Nothing that unusual. Just need to take deeper breaths to steady myself. This feeling is just normal. This isn't... I can't... This pain is too much. I stumbled backwards from Lily with unseemly haste, clumsily hitting the back of my foot against the table and falling to the ground with an unceremonious crash. Breathing wildly, I frantically scrape at the ribbon over my eyes as I lay on my back. I have to get this off. I have to get this off. For a moment, oh, is this her feeling? For a moment, everything goes blank. As the rush of newfound light assaults my eyes, my breathing slowly slows from the brink of hyperventilation. Seconds pass, and I carefully measure out to the rhythm of my heartbeats with every ounce of concentration I can muster. My heart is normal. It's back to normal. My body feels utterly bizarre as I lay dazed on the floor looking at the ceiling. The adrenaline from before is still pouring through my veins, but my mind is completely exhausted. I prop myself up as I hear Lily getting off the bed and coming towards me. Hisao? Are you okay? Hisao? I'm fine, Lily. I'm fine. She gives a sigh of relief, her worried expression collapsing. Her face afterward is the very last I'd ever wanted to see from her. It's a face I detested when I first saw my parents in the hospital all those months ago. Pity. Lily pities me. I just close my eyes and turn away, powerless. I feel like throwing up. I can hear the sound of Lily moving away and quickly attending to herself, the ruffling of her clothes being pulled back on after a moment of searching, just barely audible. Sorry. She slowly shakes her head as she finishes buttoning up her top. Her kind smile looks so fragile, so delicate, that it makes my heart sink. Approaching carefully, she feels out the edge of the low table, taking a seat next to me, putting her arms around my chest. I'm sorry, Hisao. I shouldn't have pushed, my desires onto you. You don't need apologies. Normally I'd be fine. You've seen that much before. I guess I just shouldn't have pushed myself so far. My eyelids feel heavy. Calmly sitting next to her like this is probably letting the adrenaline work itself out of my system and letting my mind relax. So, that's why you never took the lead? Yeah, I guess. It's a good thing you like to, huh? The joke seemed to lighten her. Well, now we know who's on top. Without even having to see it. The jokes seemed to lighten her expression a little. A fact which helps let me feel less unease about my unreliable self. Lily's head comes to rest on my shoulder as I struggle to keep my eyes open. With more difficulty after each blink, I feel completely drained. It's okay, Hisao. It's all okay. No sooner does she say that than a small quiet tune escapes her lips. Entirely too tired to think, all I can do is listen to her soft humming. It's a soft, almost melancholic tune. It sounds familiar, but the more I try to remember its origin, the less I'm able to concentrate. The feeling and scent of her head gently resting on my shoulder and her warm body against my side are soothing. The soft humming of her voice, too, relaxes my mind as much as her warmth relaxes my muscles. The singular, quiet moment after all the fracas. It makes me realize just how exhausted I've become. I can feel my eyelids slowly becoming heavier and heavier. Even with the chaos of before, I wish this moment would last forever. Lily and I together sharing a single solitary occasion together, just as we used to. But if that's the case, why does she feel further away than she's ever felt before? Alright guys, with that, I think it's time to take a break. We apparently still have a few more episodes left. Stay safe, have fun, and, use blindfolds responsibly. One of those things is more important than the others. Bye!